Gym Candy Part 3, Chapter 13. I was 100% certain about Popeyes, but I was still nervous driving to Fremont on Tuesday afternoon, and I grew more nervous when I saw the mirrors with the guy standing in front. What would Peter Vols think when he saw me? I remembered how I'd acted that day. Had he suspected what I'd been thinking? There was no turning back, though. I pushed the door open and saw Peter sitting behind the main counter. "Hey, what's up, Mick?" he said, sticking out his hand. I shook it. "Nothing much." Peter nodded. "I talked to your dad. He said you're not happy with your weight program at school. I don't feel like I'm getting stronger." "Well, you've come to the right place. You'll have to work, but I can help make that work more effective." I nodded toward the gym. "Should we get started?" "We need to talk a little first. Ever had a mango smoothie?" "No," I said. "Jamba Juice is right next door. Let's go." I wanted to buy my own, but he wouldn't let me. "You sit down," he said, and he went to the counter and ordered. A couple minutes later, he stuck a tall cup in front of me. I took a sip. It was cold and sweet. "It's great," I said. "Thanks." He reached into his back pocket and took out his wallet. "There are a couple of things we have to clear up if I'm going to be your trainer," he said. He thumbed through his photos. Finally, he took one out and dropped it on the table. He was on a beach, and he had his arm around a beautiful black girl wearing a bikini. "First of all, that's my girlfriend Tamika. She can tell you that I'm definitely not gay." "I never thought you were." He put his hands up to stop me. "Yeah, you did, Mick. Look, you're a kid. It's a strange world. But from now on, if I move your arm up or down on a barbell or show you how far to bend your knee, you can't freak out on me, because if you do, we won't get anywhere, okay?" He could have made me feel foolish and childish and stupid, but there'd been no mockery in his voice. I took a deep breath and exhaled, and when I looked back at him, he smiled. "Okay?" he repeated. "Okay," I said. "Good, that's settled. Now clue me in. What's the real reason you're back? And don't say you want to get stronger. Tell me what makes you tick, what's driving you. The more I know about your goals, the better." I swallowed. This is going to take time. That's why I got us the smoothies. I thought what I was saying would bore him, but the more I talked, the harder he listened. It was like talking to an older brother. Better, really, because guys I knew who had older brothers mostly complained about how mean they were. I told Peter about my dad, how he'd been great in high school and college, but had fallen apart during training camp in the NFL, and how he'd kept that from me, and how I'd found out only a year and a half ago. I told him how my dad had taught me football from the day I was born, how it was the only game I'd ever played, and how now it was my turn, and I was right there, so close, but that I needed to get stronger. I feel like if I succeed, in a way I'll be doing it for both me and my dad. Lots of times he makes me mad, but he taught me the game. I don't want to let him down. Peter stirred his smoothie for a while. "Look, Mick, if you work with me, your muscles are going to burn. They're going to be on fire, and then I'm going to tell you to do another rep. And then when you're done with that one, I'm going to want you to do 2 more. So if you're here just for your dad, you should go back to your school and work out with your team. Nobody puts up with the kind of pain I'm talking about for dear old dad. So what I need to know is, are you here for you, too?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, do you want to be a football star?" There was a challenge in his voice. "Yes," I said loud and clear. "I want to be a football star." His eyes brightened. "That's what I wanted to hear. You supply the willpower, and I'll supply the knowledge. Together, we'll get you there." We fell silent. I stirred my smoothie, sipped, and stirred again. When there was only a couple of inches left, I remembered my supplements. I reached down into my duffel, took them out, and used the last inches of the smoothie to wash them down. "Let me see those," Peter said. I handed the vials to him. "Are they okay? I drink protein shakes, too." "The protein shakes are for sure are good. There's nothing wrong with this stuff either. Putting good things in your body is never a waste of money. Only what?" "Nothing. Let's get going." For the next hour, Peter worked me incredibly hard, just like he said he would. Bench presses, military presses, curls, rows, squats. He had me do sets in a way that was completely different from Carlson. I started by doing 8 reps at a light weight, and I ended up only doing 3 reps. But he had me add weight for each new set so that the final 3 seemed 100 times harder than the first 8. As I lifted, he took notes on everything I did. My muscles burned in a way they'd never burned at Shosholi. He saw the pain in my face. I gotta warn you, this is a light workout. Eventually, you'll lift to total failure. Then you'll know what pain is. When the session was over, he walked outside with me. A light rain had begun falling. That was great, I said, reaching up my hand. Got a minute? He said. Sure. He motioned to an overhang at the side of the building and we walked there. He scratched the back of his neck, frowned. Look, Mick, he said, you're going to find out from somebody in the gym, so you might as well find out from me. Those supplements you're taking, they might get you a little bigger, just a little. If you're after serious gains, there's other stuff that produces better results, much faster, stuff that a lot of guys in the gym use. What other stuff? You know what I'm talking about, gym candy. I started with Dianabol when I was your age. Basically, they're all testosterone or testosterone derivatives. I could feel the blood rush to my face. You're talking about steroids, right? Those things mess you up. Every coach I've ever had has said that. Peter shrugged. People say that Adam and Eve came from outer space. Just because people say something doesn't make it true. He paused. You've got testicles, right? Listen to the words. Testicles, testosterone. You take testosterone and you'll be doubling up with something that's natural, something your body makes all the time. I shook my head. No, not steroids. I'm not taking steroids. Peter put up his hands. Hey, that's fine, Mick. I only wanted you to know what's available. You can get plenty strong just by lifting. I started to leave, but after a couple of steps, I turned back. I can come tomorrow? You remember, you can come whenever you want. I've got other clients, but when I'm not busy with one of them, I'll check in with you. Our next full hour together will be Saturday. By then, I'll have a series of workouts set up for you, what I want you to do each and every day of the week. Chapter 14. Those days I was incredibly busy. Shosholi High had gone to an online grading program, and my mom had a password that let her check every assignment with every teacher, so I couldn't let school slide. After school, I drove to Popeyes and lifted, with Peter woofing at me if my form was a fraction off. In my free time, I was working jobs around the house to pay for the Jeep and the supplements. Peter knew his stuff. My personal bests in the bench press, squats, and leg press started going up, and I could tell my body fat was going down. In the mirror, I looked more muscular, but I wasn't lifting and eating right to look studly on the beach. It was all for football. Could I get the hard yards in the red zone? That would be the test. In early May, spring football began. Carlson ran it differently from Downs. I heard Coach Downs never started freshmen, he told us. Well, that's not how it is with me. I play the best players, period. If you're a junior with 3 letters on your jacket and you shave twice a day and some smooth-faced freshman whips your ass in practice, then you're collecting splinters and he's playing. Understood? In a way, it was a bad joke. I knew the upperclassmen at my position knew that none of them could challenge me. But there was an 8th grader, Dave Kane, who was definitely a player. He had good size and he was fast. His long blonde hair seemed to stream behind him when he ran. When I told Drew he worried me, Drew waved him off. Pretty boy like that, he won't like getting hit by some 250-pound lineman. I bet he switches to wide receiver by Friday. Mr. Symes was back as a trainer, but Carlson had 5 new assistants, older black guys just like him. Linebackers worked with one coach, linemen with another, wide receivers with another. Carlson worked directly with me and Drew and the other backs. Under his eye, my technique, especially my footwork, improved. We had some full contact drills, but not many. Mainly it was helmet but no pads, which made me itch for a real scrimmage, and I wasn't the only one. When are we going to play? Felipe Perez called out after 4 straight days of drills. We'll play on our final Friday, Carlson said, but that's it. I'm not getting anyone hurt for no reason. When I told Peter about the scrimmage, he told me not to lift that Thursday. Save your strength. It was good advice, but it was hard to stay home. Before Peter, weight training had always been drudgery. Now I was addicted. At last it was Friday. Full contact 4-quarter scrimmage. Carlson put Drew and me on the black team. When I looked around at the other guys with us, I saw nothing but first stringers. Across from us on the red team, it was the first string defense. It was exactly the test I wanted. After the kickoff, Drew and I and the rest of the black team trotted onto the field. On first down, I took the handoff and worked toward the sideline, stretching the defense, my eyes searching for a place to cut back. I found it, turned upfield, and took 3 or 4 strides before somebody hit me. I went down, but not before I'd smacked him back a couple of yards. I'd gained 7. I wanted the ball again, but Carlson had Drew throw over the middle to our tight end, Bo Jones. Drew's pass was right in his hands, but Jones dropped it. On third down, Drew threw another pass, this one to Deshaun, running a post pattern down the middle of the field. Deshaun was open, but Drew's pass was about 2 yards too long. We had to punt, and the red team's offense took the field. I trotted off, my mind working. 1 carry for 7 yards? A good start. Only why hadn't Carlson called my number on 2nd or 3rd down? Why the passes? The red offense was going up against the second-string defense, and those guys weren't as good. Dave Kane gained 4 yards on a first down, 2 on second down, and then 13 on third down draw play that caught the defense by surprise. 3 plays, and Carlson had called Kane's number 3 times. After a screen pass, Kane bowled his way for 12 yards straight up the middle. Drew had said he was soft, but he wasn't looking that way to me. 2 downs later, on a 3rd and 3 play, he took a short pass in the flat and with his speed turned it into a 38-yard touchdown. As Kane trotted off the field, Carlson was clapping his hands. Way to run the ball! Way to run the ball! For the rest of the scrimmage, a calculator was running in my head, keeping track of both Kane's yards and my own. In the middle of the 3rd quarter, he had me by 30 yards. Then, late in the 4th quarter, he took a handoff straight up the middle and bounced off the pile. And the next thing anyone knew, he was racing down the sideline, 65 yards for a touchdown. 1 more series, Carlson shouted as Drew and I and the other first stringers headed onto the field after the kickoff. Let's kick some butt, I said in the huddle. Go out in glory. The guys nodded, but the fire was out. They were tired and wanted the scrimmage to end. Carlson let Drew call all the plays on the drive, and Drew called my number. I gained 8 yards on my first carry, a dozen more on the next one. Keep giving me the ball, I pleaded, even though I was exhausted. And he did. 5 yards, 7 yards, 4 yards. We drove down to the 14-yard line. On first down, I took a pitch out and broke for the corner. I made it and cut upfield, and there was the end zone in front of me. All I had to do was churn out those final yards, and I'd have matched Kane. Outplayed him, really, because I'd faced the first-team defense. I never knew who hit me. All I know is that he got me from behind, and that as he brought me down, he pounded his fist on the ball. It came loose and rolled slowly toward the end zone. I reached for it, but it was just beyond my fingertips. And then some cornerback scooped it up and started running. I twisted around to see Drew dive for him, but missed near the 20. Then I watched helpless as he took my fumble to the length of the field for a touchdown. When he crossed the goal line, Carlson blew his whistle. All right, men, that's it. I dragged myself into the locker room and listened to Carlson tell us how we'd done okay, but that we had to do better. We can't practice as a team until August, he said. I wish we could, but rules are rules. Until then, you guys keep in shape. Work out with one another. The field is yours in the morning, every morning, all summer long. And that weight room will be open every day for the rest of the school year, and Monday through Friday in the summer, too. That's it. Dismissed. I called for the door, but before I reached it, Carlson called me back. Mick, you ever play another position? Not really, I said. I've always been a running back. Why? Just wondering. I walked out, numb. It was part exhaustion, part failure, and part shame. Being beaten out by Drager had been terrible, but at least he was older than I was. But Kane? Kanehead was 2 years younger. And another position? I didn't know any other position. You've got to have passion to live through the pain of playing football. My dreams were a running back's dreams. Cutting back, finding the hole, breaking into the open, running free. I drove home and showered. My mom came in from work and fixed dinner. Afterward, I climbed upstairs to my room and sat on my bed, the lights off. I heard the phone ring, and then I heard my mom knock on the door. "Mick, it's your father. He's on commercial break." I took the phone from her. "So, how'd the scrimmage go?" he asked. "Fine. It went fine." "Are you first team?" "I don't know for sure." "Come on, Mick. Are you first team?" I paused. "I think I am." His excitement came through the phone. "That's great. I'll warn Lion that I'll be taking off Friday nights next fall."